Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what is up?
Not much, man. Crazy last few days. Usually, we have our two other buddies here for Loco, Yoni. Actually, three of them. Danksy. Today,
hmm
uh, just us two, brother. How you doing?
I've been what I've been better. I crashed out as the markets crashed out. So I woke up today, literally after basically 2 days of bed rest, to what's been some chaos in the streets. So catching up on all that has been going on. But excited to be here. Excited to be feeling back to 50+% and getting at it. So glad to connect again. I feel like I miss everyone just from the few days I was away.
Yeah, man. I mean, pretty good time to get sick, I think. Not much.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm just getting over being sick too. Luckily, only a few days for me. I got back from New Orleans, had a cold, whatever, a little bit of a fever, but just took it easy. So, um, yeah, I mean, crazy last few fucking days, man. Usually we do like a full 2 hour show here. This might be a little bit shorter. But I really want to go over kind of the madness that's happened over the past few days and then kind of my thoughts and our thoughts on where everything's headed. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty. It seems like people are on one side of the boat. Either they think it's over or, we're just getting started. And I really want to touch on that. Do we have a Broad's review prepared today?
We do, and we also have chat. Chat
Awesome.
is chat is working. I don't know how. I don't know what I turned off your like the stream to your channel just because there's two X streams going on. I think maybe that was causing the issue. So it looks like we got chat box back,
Okay.
and let's go to the Rotes review. There
Perfect.
we
Yeah.
go.
I didn't really spit this. Yeah. Usually we start the show with doing a little bit of a review. My boy Rhodes is going to go over kind of everything that went over the last few days. So take it away, Rhodes.
Yeah. So first off, this morning we looks like Bitcoin lost a bit of local support, settling in here a bit at actually just a nice really rebound. So when I completed this earlier on, it lost support on this kind of like ascending wedge that I was looking at from the 95K range. It dipped below and then we're rallying back up there. And the way these wicks kind of look down, it almost looks like it's actually adjusted on support. So Bitcoin overall looking all right. We had this like Argentina rug pull over the weekend. So, from my understanding, as I've tried to catch up, and you may know better, is that uh, the president of Argentina retweeted a contract address, Libra, and then it later rug pulled. Meteora somewhat involved, maybe Jupiter, but maybe not. But like there's just a whole bunch of people involved in some chaos in everything that's related to meme coins. When it comes to Solana, Solana itself crashed really bad. Solana is now down 45% over the last 30 days. Looks like it's had a bit of local support, but I could see some downside to it still as well. Hyperliquid kind of stealth launches the L1 on there, and AI market cap is now down to 5.5 billion. Again, from I think as high as what was it, 15 or 17 billion, down 10% on the last 24 hours. On the NFT side of things, volume is really high. Mostly, I would assume to OpenSea and OpenSea kind of points accumulation. They did open up the OpenSea 2.0 to essentially everyone. At least if you're on the list or if you had like requested to join the beta list. And then in terms of gainers, we have captains, which is probably due to pain, up 12%. Board 8 Yacht Club, a 5.7% rebound, but down overall. Cool Cats, up 7%. Not a lot of green on the NFT side of things, but not as red as a lot of the other markets. Meme coins, only a few that are up over the last 24 hours. We have AIC up 5%, Swarms up 15.7%, but down 14% on the week. And then Unicorn Fart Dust up 6.89%, up 5% on the 7 days, but only at 35 million overall. Bitcoin prediction markets. We have 33% chance now for 110K by end of March. That is down 14% since last update, so about over the last week. And then 80K is flat, still at 32 probability. So a real mix between the two, as we kind of almost sit in between those two marks as well. I would say that, you know, those prediction odds actually look pretty reasonable to me overall. So that is that. I look forward to getting your thoughts on some of the majors. I see chats are coming in. Definitely a bear trap. Government trying to shake out retail. Crypto Comrade says, "How is everyone?" Max Funky Walk says, "Gil up 10% today in the bloodbath. We are strong." And then also, I think the contract I just shared there.
Yeah.
So keep those chats coming. Appreciate it. And you ready for the share there, Brent?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Like Rhodes said, last week we didn't have the chat working, but it's up now. It's definitely a huge part of the show. Again, love to hear ourselves talk, but we want to make sure, again, especially during this time, that we can read your guys' stuff, because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, and haven't lived through these specific cycles before. What's up, Rojam? How you doing, brother? Long, probably Rojam and Crypto Comrade. Probably I see you on here every
Yeah,
show. I
always
appreciate you
always
guys.
commenting as well. We appreciate it. It's excellent.
Hell yeah, I got 118 people on here right now. Appreciate you, or at least on here. So let's go ahead and go to the majors. Before we do that, yeah, Rhodes briefly touched on the whole Libra stuff, and it seems like every hour something else comes out. It actually does go pretty deep, Rhodes. I don't know if you've you know
I Yeah, I've only tried to capture or get caught up this morning, so I am probably not in as in the loop as anyone that's followed it over the weekend. And it's it's pretty
it's
wild for the most part that I understand. I don't know how deep it goes in terms of who all is involved, but
yeah, and again, a lot of this still is speculation or whatever, but I mean, a lot of people, again, it's just started with the Hayden thing, and then this kid Hayden, and then it started implementing Malay, and then got into where the Meteora, which is obviously owned partly by Jupiter, which is I think, what is Meteora exactly? What is it? Like the title, it's like it allows people, like, liquidity pools, deals with liquidity pools and stuff like that, right? Uh,
mhm.
But anyways, the guy from Meteora stepped down, and then Beanie, say what you want about him, whatever. He's been putting out a lot of this information about this, and especially this video where it's this guy from DeFi Tuna. I don't know if you heard about that, but and then talking to that guy Ben from Meteora, and talking about how he experienced with that guy Hayden, how they're all sniping all the launches, and kind of pumping and dumping at people. So kind of people are implementing, implicating what's it called, Meteor in this, and then some people say, oh, maybe Jupiter's involved. We don't know. That would be worst case scenario if Jupiter was like implicated in all this. I don't think it's as bad as something like FTX, because FTX, there was billions of dollars missing. I think there's no money missing here or anything, but it still is a huge deal, and something that could put a lot of sell pressure on Solana if you know this stuff plays out. But I'm not an investigator. I don't even know. I'm not an on-chain person. There's still a lot coming out, but this thing goes deep, it seems.
Yeah, and it's kind of the gist I'd capture for the most part. Like, really, Meteor was putting a bunch of like excess volume initially on launch as well. Kind of similar to almost like the OpenSea, where Buddy had the the projects that were going to be featured. Same idea with Meteor is that the people within the team would get this contract addresses as they're getting launched. They'd buy it up as well. So definitely, when it comes to Meteor, definitely implicated. And then of course the Jupiter relationship, etc. But overall, a lot going on there, and it puts a rough stamp on when it comes to meme tokens, specifically Solana, and I think there's just a lot of pause when it comes to that. But I have a tendency to believe that a lot of this will result in overreaction. I'm not sure if you get the same impression, but typically when we get this kind of amount of blood in the streets, people overreact. People are calling the end of Solana, etc. And I don't think we're going to get to that extreme level. And as it plays out, it won't be as significant at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, yeah, minus like Jupiter actually being involved. There's this huge racket, which I think usually isn't what happens in these things. Usually it's an overreaction, like you said. Minus something like that, I do agree. I think it's been my base case for a while that Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol are finishing up. At least Bitcoin and ETH are finishing up obvious corrective phases on the charts. Around this 91K low. So what I'm seeing here on the short term chart for Bitcoin, I think we're going to come down here, get a bounce. We have to see how strong this bounce is. If we close back above 105K, very, very likely that this is just going to go straight back to all time highs. But it's also possible we make a higher low here in this channel and go back down and sweep these lows one more time under 80. We kind of
I,
really go ahead.
I was going to say that's the scenario I kind of almost feel is more likely. We get like a bit of a short squeeze rally, right? Clean out all of the shorts, and then we dump. Kind of pull back to values there because that rally we had in November was such a fast, strong rally that I think if we come back and test some of those levels, that's going to be beneficial for the overall long term. So I could see that scenario playing out pretty well, and it kind of suits both sides of the coin in the sense that we have a lot of people calling for doom, and there's a lot of people still calling for all-time highs. So I believe in that scenario, but yeah, it's really at an important kind of threshold as we're standing right now.
Absolutely, and I think the 90K low is what to watch for. Again, I think because of this corrective behavior we've gotten since like last month, we probably will get a bounce, but we have to see how strong this bounce is, and if it peters out before 105K, very likely we could attack that 90K low one more time and get another low. And that would just give us a very similar circumstance to very similar setup to what we got in March of this year, the summer correction of
100%.
And would look very similar to that. And
Yeah.
there's really two options here. We get the correction. There's three options. We could top out here too, but I do think this is corrective behavior due to all this positive stuff that's coming out regulatory wise. But I do think we either get a correction like we did in the summer of 24, where it's more of a corrective channel where we get another fresh low, or it could be a corrective consolidation where we hold this low at 90 for a few more months or a few more weeks and then send.
Here's a question for you. The summer correction of 23, how long was that?
From peak to bottom, it was April 23 to peak to September. So about 5-6 months.
And then the following correction?
Pretty sure it's pretty similar. March to September, so about 6 months.
Okay. And then what about that kind of intermediary one in early 2024?
This one?
Yeah. I guess that one's pretty short, hey?
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to do it from this to this, it's about a month. Yeah.
Okay. My question is like, are we going to get like a half length on this current kind of consolidation range that we're at, or what kind of duration are we getting before we break out of this range versus the last two longer cycles, right? It'd be a horrible one if we go another 5-6 months. I would love to see a 3 month or something like that.
I mean, we've already been in it technically for 2. I mean, if we just look at the past of how long these lows take to be made, like usually a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So I would expect if we were to bounce here and get one more low, it'd probably be another month, another month before we saw a bottom ish. That's usually how it goes. And at that point, we'd be at 4 or 5 months. Obviously the last 2 have been 6. So I mean, I give or take, I think in the next few months, we will get that bottom. It will be sooner if we do a consolidation type, but if we get another fresh low, it's very possible that we're in, we go into March still in this period. But what I'm trying to get at is just like in summer of 23, in the summer of 24, not only the majors bottom out, Bitcoin went to 105K, 110, yeah, whatever, 110K. But also what happened, which we'll go over the memes and everything in a second, the strong memes and alts, the ones that survived this corrective period in 24 and the corrective period of 23, they go on to new all-time highs and really, thrive. So my point in here is, it's very, this one's definitely been more brutal than summer of 24, definitely more brutal than summer of 23, meme coin price wise. But this is nothing out of the ordinary that we haven't seen, not only in the past cycles, but just in this cycle alone. Just to give people a little bit of perspective.
Yeah.
Let's see. Infinity Loop, please not 80K. Yeah, I mean, 80K is possible, like I said, but again, just the corrective behavior, writings on the wall, all the positive, stuff that's coming regulatory clarity wise. I think, again, it takes a few months sometimes, but that will contribute to the prices moving higher. And it's just like one more thing, like the Bitcoin ETF, which I think formed around this one, right? Around December of 23. What we saw is it came out and then prices actually went down 25-30% for multiple weeks after the biggest event and positive event in Bitcoin's history where the Bitcoin ETF opened. Prices went down for 2 or 3 weeks, a month, even before prices started to catch up to the positive fundamental stuff. I think that's what we're going to end up seeing here around the legislative stuff. So yeah, be interesting to see. We got to watch this low at 90. We'll see if we break it, then we probably go to one more low to 80. But if we bounce off 90 and we go straight to 105, it's possible that the bottom's in. But we'll have to play it by ear. Let me see here. But yeah, ETH, same type of thing. I think the ETH's been holding up way stronger than Sol, which has been crazy to see. I put out this tweet yesterday that it'd be the perfect time for ETH to kind of steal the show after all the Solana drama. This is before the stuff that came out with Meteor and everything. But just 2 weeks of consolidation on ETH. The talks of the tokenized bond stocks, all this stuff coming, regulatory clarity, and then the largest short position ever on ETH right now. When all this, the markets bottom out, conditions improve, it's going to act as a major short squeeze for ETH here on the way up, I think. So, let's see.
I like it.
And then the Sol ETH ratio. For those of you who don't know, this is the strength of Sol versus ETH over time. Sol ETH has been holding this high from November and failed to break up here this last week, and then is now coming down impulsively. This very well could act as a major reversal for Sol and ETH, and we could see ETH really outperform Sol here, which I've kind of been predicting for a little bit. We'll have to see when everything bottoms out if this continues. If that's the case, then we're very likely going to see ETH outperform Sol, at least in the near future. Did you see this chart, Rhodes? Like, have you been looking this at all?
Yeah, I'm watching you as you go through it.
I just meant like, do you ever look at the ratio charts in general?
I don't look at Sol ETH as much as like Bitcoin dominance.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But, yeah,
that's another one. Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin dominance wants to go for one more. I do think eventually, at some point, maybe after a little bit more positive news coming from Bitcoin, maybe some countries buy or the states start buying soon. But I think at some point, very likely this year, there will come a time where Bitcoin dominance does top out, at least temporarily. And at that point, we'll probably see that quote unquote alt season where most things start to run at the same time. But in the at least in the short term, I do think Bitcoin dominance probably continues to move higher. Especially, I don't know if you saw, Rhodes, how much positive news is coming this week from countries or different states and stuff, talking about putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, like Texas. I don't know if you saw that.
There's been a lot of states moving to do that, and I think those are probably the first obvious dominoes to fall before you get like a national one. Man, that one person, actually both people on either side of him look like they're far too young to be sitting at whatever that is. Like that looks like a junior conference or something like that. Either way, those states are going to be the first ones to make moves, and then once that happens, then I think it makes it a lot easier for the national reserve to occur, and that will all kind of kick things really off, and then you're going to start to see that kind of that FOMO rally buy that we're all expecting, as things kind of get to its last parts of the at least this cycle. So
Yeah, I don't know if you saw SpaceX too. They just filed have 800 million in Bitcoin. I think that's more than they had before for sure. So, um,
interesting.
yeah, they just filed that, and then yeah, a lot of these Bhutan, which is a country, obviously a small country, but they just announced they have a billion in Bitcoin in their balance sheet. So yeah, I mean, a lot of companies as well, or institutions, JP Morgan getting what's it called, exposure to micro strategy. I think this points to these people who are in the know in these type of things, in these circles, buying exposure to Bitcoin. I think that's pointing to like a huge regulatory thing coming.
That second tweet is wild. Like,
Wow.
who where is Bhutan? We've never heard of this country. Their flag is sick, and they're the fourth largest holder of Bitcoin.
Wait, is that actually the colors of their flag?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not so sick. It looks like it looks like clip art.
That's crazy. Wow, that's nuts. Fourth biggest, 480 million. Wow. Wow. El Salvador. Oh, they have more than El Salvador. That's
That's
insane.
crazy. El Salvador is like the country that lives on Bitcoin, and
Yeah,
meanwhile, Bhutan has been just accumulating.
I
Where is
love that.
Bhutan?
I don't
This
even
is
know.
great.
But yeah, guys, we're looking at the chat. If you have any questions, comments,
But
we'll start.
that's how it's going to go down, right? These countries are going to start accumulating and buying up, especially if they believe in the U.S. kind of making that transition on the state level and in the national level. Well, there's no better way to appreciate and value than to kind of front run the United States, right? Even if with companies doing it. So those are the kind of catalysts that really can push Bitcoin pretty strongly. And what we've learned from the last couple weeks, and certainly over the weekend, is that when it comes to cryptocurrency, there's no sure thing in the terms of crypto than Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has become a store of value, and a lot of the other chains are at a lot more risk of various elements, right? That can really pull them down. So when it comes to this point, like your Bitcoin holdings should be, still a reasonable portion of your portfolio. I'm not going to say it should be your biggest hold, but I would strongly say that has to be a reasonable portion. And if you're playing in the meme streets, then those are your lottery tickets. You play them as lottery tickets. Away you go.
Yeah, I think it's become more evident than ever. It's like our goal, everybody's goal. I mean, if you want to sustain, um, in the crypto world for a while, you got to take profits into Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. It's the only way you survive.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I like to kind of conclude what we were talking about for the majors, guys. It's really a mystery what we're going to see in the very short term. But mid and long term, I think it's very obvious just based on chart structure as well as all the positive fundamentals and everything going on that, over the next few months, whether it be this week or sometime next month, we will see the bottom of this correction. Bitcoin will go to all-time highs very likely, and then just like in August of 24 and September of 23, the memes that survived, thrived, and kind of built their roots. Those are the ones that really do well and go to new all time highs. Some shit's not going to come back, which we'll go over here in a second. But I mean, just history shows that that's usually what happens, and I don't think this time's going to be any different. What do you think, Rhodes?
I agree. Agree 100%. And as you're saying all that, I was just looking at when was that announcement for Groot? I know
Today,
I'm probably jumping way ahead here, but over the last 6 hours, Fog is up 40%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is down on the day, still, but like everything's down on the day. Or actually, it's break even on the day, but either way, a nice little bounce off of the news there.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. That's good. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to do. We'll go over that a little bit, but yeah, Garut, the artist in Fwog, just announced today that I think it's he, yeah, has joined Yuga Labs, which obviously owns Bored Apes, uh, Punks, all that, as creative art lead, which is super interesting. We love his his art and all that. So be interesting to see what this means for Fwog, and everything. So interesting for sure.
Here's a good question from Tickle Tipson. How do you feel about rotating into good Solana projects like Giga, Popcat, and Whiff? Or do you think Solana is cooked and we need to buy ETH?
Yeah, no, great question, man. So I'm not. I always push against when people say, "Oh yeah, this chain is fucked," or this chain, whatever. There's definitely different certain cultures on different chains. A lot of it based on the gas fees and all that. But I think we're not made up of this isn't a industry made up of chains. It's just all about the people, right? And I think there's going to be Jeets, there's going to be long-term holders, there's going to be all this different stuff on every chain. It's just Solana where 90% of the meme coin trading's happening. It's just going to naturally seem like you're naturally going to notice all the Jeet behavior and all that. But what I'm trying to say here is just because Sol is going down right now, I don't think that means that the Solana meme coins, the Giga, SPX, I'm not XPX, Giga, Popcat, the ones you named, are doomed by any means. Um, I think that Soul itself will definitely recover, but even if it didn't, as strongly as ETH, I still think that just like we see in all these other recoveries, that the Giga, the strong meme coins, regardless of the chain that it's on or how the token itself is doing, I do think Giga, Popcat, all those will be fine, and that's actually what I've been adding to and continue to add to is stuff like Giga. Um, Go ahead.
Yanni, amazing timing. Welcome.
What's up, boys?
What's up, Yoni?
What up, boys? How are we?
Good, good.
And another one here, and I think this is an interesting one to bring up as well, and I agree. Max Funny Walk, rumor GME has been buying BTC. I think that's an excellent fit for them. Yeah, I mean, they're basically a meme stock anyways, so why not double
They're
down
sitting
and get into
sitting on so much
Bitcoin?
cash too.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
as GME pumps, just take that into cash and buy Bitcoin.
yeah, no, yeah, there's this picture of the Ryan Cohen meeting with Michael Saylor, and no, I could for sure see that. I don't know too much about the financials of GME and all that, or what it would mean, for the future of the company. I'm not the guy to talk about that, but I could see something like that happening, and maybe that does reignite the stock, and who knows, man. But definitely interesting to see that. Um, and then yeah, the person who was asking about Giga, to me, I mean, the reason I have way more money invested in these ones in general, even when everything was thriving, but especially during these times, is that the coins that have survived these massive corrections in the past are the ones that have 10 times more of a chance of going up heading forward. And it's just evident in the chart, right? You see Giga, yes, it's down whatever 60, 70%, but it's super choppy in nature. Stuff like this, whereas stuff like Zero Bro is just straight down. To me, these are the coins that you want to be buying in the ones you can feel way safer in, and because again, if it's gone through these massive crashes before, that means that there's a strong community that forms. There's always a floor that forms. To me, this is exactly the coins that you want to be buying if you want to survive. Obviously, there's going to be some stuff that looks like absolute shit that recovers. But to me, the ones that I've been continuing to buy and the ones that I feel way safer holding, again, is a Giga, SPX, same thing. If you look at all these strong coins, the number one thing that they have in common is they've been through these massive crashes before, right?
Um,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just interrupt. I thought you were pausing. I just interrupted you, but I
No,
think
you're
this is another really important question. Mimone Robbie asks, how stupid would it be to convert some of my Solana into ETH and BTC? Solana is 70% of my portfolio. What are all his opinions on XRP? And I think this is just like this overall sentiment based question where Solana is dead. And, often when that's the case, that's near the bottom. What's your thoughts on like making this conversion right when you're, maybe at a low, and how does that typically play out?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, I think typically, if you're all in on Solana versus the others, I think it's typically good to have a mix of Sol and ETH, even if you think Sol is going to continue to outperform in the future. To have a basket of all of them. Now, right now, since they're all down, if you were to rebalance that, it wouldn't be a terrible time. But I think whether it be now or on the way up, I would advise anybody to not just be holding all of anything. Right? You want to have, for me, Sol. I have a bag of Sol, ETH, and Bitcoin. Probably less Bitcoin than I would like, to be honest. In hindsight, but Sol and ETH. I have a good mix of both, and that's what I recommend of anybody. But to answer your question, I don't think Sol is doomed by any means, especially if nothing catastrophic comes out of this. Like if Jupiter's not involved or whatever this thing, I do think what's likely to happen again is when Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, or Bitcoin and ETH finish up their corrections, so too will Sol. But obviously, it's just being hit way harder because of this whole thing. And then, as well as it did form a nice double top consolidation here for 3 months, breaking this low. Usually, what we see here is a strong move down after that. But what I think is possible that happens here is a strong move. And if we're able to put in a bottom, it's probably just going to form a bigger corrective channel here, something like this. And then probably fall in line with what we were talking about with Bitcoin earlier, with a possibly one more low right under 90. But we'll have to see how Bitcoin plays out to do that. If Bitcoin were to just bottom out here at 90, we could see Sol just go straight up. But this wouldn't surprise me at all either. But again, guys, this is just the common theme here that none of this points to this being a long-term top like we got in back in 2021. And it just falls in line with the past corrections that we've seen in 23 and 24. So to answer, I know that was a long rant to answer whoever's question that was, but one, I recommend, not being all in on Sol or ETH and having a bag of both. And then two, I don't think Sol's doomed by any means. If anything, if you have stables and we're looking to add into Sol, this is probably the time.
100%.
Yeah. Now that I drew this out, like I think this very possibly could happen. Maybe come down a little bit more, get a bounce like we were showing on Bitcoin here. And then,
Did you have that low touching like 120
where?
on your Sol chart? I couldn't see the number.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it'd be somewhere around there. Again,
Jesus.
yeah, again, bro, it's just like we could be in here for another week, we'd be here for another few months, but the outcome is going to be the same. It may mean the fucking altcoins that are down 90 now might go now 95, but that's just how this shit works. It's just a waiting game for the fucking major.
128 is the last quality range of support that or the next quality range of support that I have marked out.
Yeah, again, it's all
maybe
based on
140, but yeah, there's definitely, if we don't hold this 160, 62 range, there's a much quicker downswing on Solana.
So what I see here again is like Bitcoin very corrective in this piece here since January. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a bounce off of 90. We went over this at the beginning of the show, but we're going to get a bounce off of 90, and we must see how this bounce goes. If it goes straight over 105, we'll just know from there that we're very likely just go back to all-time highs. But if it peters out here, makes a higher low, it is possible we get that final break of 90 and then form that corrective channel, just like the channel of the correction of 24. But again, outcome is the same. I think probably in the next month or so, whether it be this week, bounce off of 90 or one more low in the mid 80s. I mean, it looks exactly the same as the last corrections, just a bit more brutal in the meme coin corrections, obviously. But yeah, ETH, Bitcoin. Yeah, no, but to answer whoever's asking about SPX Giga, all that. Whether it's these ones, I mean, SPX is just the cleanest chart out there to me, corrective wise, with these clear bounces, all that, only down 50%. There's a reason, again, why these coins are doing well versus something like that's AI, is because it's been around a year plus, has formed this community through these 90% crashes before. Most of this AI stuff's just going through its first 90% crash now. A lot of it will survive, but these big corrections are just like a rite of passage to see if the coin has any like long-term legitimacy. So SPX, Giga, Mog, I think they've held the best, and then on the way up, are going to perform the best too. So, Tickle. Oh, you already asked that. How stupid? Oh, you were asking about XRP. So, XRP did really well in November, as right here when normies started to come in, or people started flooding back into the market. Bitcoin topped out, and we kind of saw it peter out for a little bit there. But I think we're gonna get once everything bottoms out, Bitcoin and the rest of the majors, we're gonna get what we saw in November again for XRP. There's rumors of the ETF and all that. And either way, I think XRP is just moving up because of the strong cult-like community it's formed over the last 7 or 8 years or whatever. And for that reason, man, I do think it continues to climb up over time. And I think it's going to go a lot higher at some point this year. Dave Portnoy,
Can we confirm this?
Agreed.
He did. It's at like 33 million. He didn't. It's not. I don't know if it's like official coin forever, but he dropped it this morning, like not long ago. It's already at like 35 million right now.
Crazy timing. This wallet spent 30, sold to buy Greed 30 minutes ago, and has already profited 1,700. Oh, Jesus. Crazy. Yeah, no, it's insane that he's making coins when Greed. Yeah, it's nuts. Like the coin's literally called Greed.
I mean, it's a smart one. It's good timing. Market fit.
Man. Says he uses public wallet, has been tracking. But yeah, what
is it, like hour and a half deep?
Yeah.
It's been up for an hour and a half.
I'm really interested to see what happens with all these AI coins. Really, like I need to know.
Yeah.
Puts the narrative of ChatGPT wrappers into perspective, the way they've been performing.
Yeah, I mean, it really has a way of making you feel like a fucking dumbass.
It's crazy.
This shit really, like, it's tough, man. Things have never been more true, especially when the shit comes down to what you guys preach and what Brent preaches, as far as like anything that's brand new that hasn't gone through this. The last thing on fucking earth you want to be doing is holding the bag when this shit comes down with a project like this. I'm holding Giga, SPX, Mog, other projects that, don't get me wrong, they're getting the shit beat out of them. But I'm not worried that I'm going to wait. I could potentially wake up next week and it could actually go down another 90%. Whereas with all these so-called AI coins that did stuff, infrastructure, this, that, docs developers, like I went through all the motions to make sure that I was picking some great projects that had all the things, all the variables. And still, when you're left holding that bag, and after the Trump stuff, you're already down 50%, 60% within a few days. So from that moment, it's just kind of like, I don't know, you're just sitting in a bad place, right? It makes it a lot harder to make those decisions on the way down. And then they just keep dropping. You don't know if they're going to survive, really.
Yeah.
I'm curious to really see how this plays out, which projects actually survive. Like some have shown strength, but a lot of these just look like they're fucking damn near almost flatlined.
Yeah. It's I mean, usually what happens, like I've told you for a few times, but for people listening, is that 90% of stuff will bounce usually out of these things, but it's just whether that bounce leads to all-time highs or it gets sold off by like bag holders that are just looking to quickly dump and in profit or whatever. Um, a lot of those AI coins will have that initial bounce and then just have a lot of headwinds and never meet all-time highs. And then there'll be the strong ones that it's clear, okay, it's bouncing very impulsively and it's going to go back to all-time highs. So just the fucking waiting game that drives you crazy sometimes. But yeah, it looks like he fucking holds 30% of it of greed. But yeah, we went over a little bit of the Meteora stuff earlier, Yoni. I don't know if you were reading about it, but
The president resigning.
whatever, the founder, whatever. But yeah, there's just that video going around where I don't know, they're implicating like the Hayden guy and kind of like doing this with all these different launches and having the contract addresses early and all this shit. But I don't know. We'll see what comes of it.
I don't know if he's as guilty as everyone as he looks and sounds. He's the worst type of fucking guy. Guys who pretend to be the victim who are actually the most guilty and like wanted to get ahead of it to try and seem away is absolutely retarded.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw too. His dad is like again, whatever. People can change, but who knows? But his dad's a convicted felon, and the guy's like also he's running the company with him. Like he's like convicted with fraud in the past. Him and his dad, and that's what the guy's saying in the video is that him and his dad are like we're sitting there in front of him sniping the launches and doing all this shit. So, I mean, you hope that's not what's happening because obviously it's probably can bring some obviously terrible negative attention. But yeah, we'll see what comes of it.
I mean, you just think about a lot of liquid's going to have to come back, which I'm sure it will because it always does. But for these coins to all get pumped to where they were, it's a lot of money that got taken out of these coins.
Yeah, you got to understand a lot of this shit is just literally like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's driven like by the majors that went like they literally like pull down everything. So it's not it's hard to explain, but yeah, I mean there has been I don't know how much money's been pulled out of the whatever more than it already has. I mean, pump funds already been pulling out hundreds of millions for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I think what's gonna there's just gonna be so much liquidity driven in by the majors with the ETFs and all that stuff, which always goes down the liquidity, goes down the risk curve. But yeah, it'll be interesting, man, to see if the Solana ecosystem recovers as quickly. Solana itself. I tend to think that as long as something too catastrophic doesn't come out of this, that there's not some like people in Solana Foundation involved or any of that shit, that very likely this probably will blow off as far as the Sol token being destroyed.
I mean, a lot of people have lost a lot of money recently over very big events coming to the chain.
Yeah, at the same time, a lot. I mean, Trump. I don't know. Go ahead.
Pretty consistently, as far as like a normie perspective, wouldn't you say? Like I know like great traders that get washed. So I can't imagine like normies not have got washed. And I know a lot of them did, whether it was buying Trump, even 30% down. A lot of these people still, it felt like a lot of these events have been like offboarding events rather than onboarding events.
Yeah, I mean, I think people in crypto get washed on all these things, and I mean, crypto Twitter. A lot of people made like average people made a fuck ton on Trump as well. But you're right; those people that came in like new, a lot of them got fucking washed. Especially they didn't know what they were looking at. So definitely not a great look. But I do think there is something to say that a million people get onboarded to Trump via Moonshot or whatever. Even if 200K of those like stick around and don't completely go away from crypto, it still does usually result in more people coming in crypto. But of course, during these times where prices are going down, that's just not evident at all. And
Right.
obviously, a lot of people did lose money, so it's tough to gauge this shit during these times. But yeah, I mean, imagine if Trump would have kept going up for a few weeks, and we didn't see that major crash. Who knows where what even the major prices on the majors would be right now, but hindsight. Um, yeah, I don't think I've ever experienced a time this brutal like on crypto Twitter where everybody's just like mob mentality and stuff, even around FTX. But yeah, man.
Yeah, because I feel like FTX was a catalyst. Everyone could point at one thing in bitch, even though it was like a mass extraction and like literally an like robbery. Um, it was like one thing that everyone could point at, which like it didn't feel like all of crypto. It felt like one bad man. Where this feels like crypto in nature does this to you, you know, especially like Solana. I think that's the feeling that people are getting, where it's like there's so many bullish catalysts that are happening everywhere. How are the charts reacting this bad, and how are there such bad launches going on? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
It
go ahead.
it's I mean we've seen this a lot through the NFT cycles as well.
Yeah,
Where
more
there's
relatable to the NFT cycle for sure. It's just so many
it's
more people can buy memes, so many more people are getting
yeah,
fucked.
and there's more and more creative ways to extract
Right.
funds away from those that are within crypto. And I think as it continues to go, and memes, just because of the wild liquidity and the wild swings, they're just like this gold mine for scammers. And I think this is
That's
a
why the
harsh
new launch.
reminder of what it is.
That's why the
Yeah.
only real shit in here, the only shit that you can invest in without putting your money in the hands of a scammer, is investing in the shit that's distributed the supply. SPX, Giga, Mog, all this different shit. It's the only real thing that you avoid putting your money in the hands of a one fucking scammer, one or two people. So just pretty interesting that that's what people have been demonizing over the last few months. Like understandably so, people don't understand, but like people, that's what the people are making fun of is Murad and these coins. When in reality, that's really the only real investable type shit in here, where you're not gambling and putting your money in the hands of a fucking scammer. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I think that's the number one take, from this is that, you can continue playing the game. That's why, it's a form of gambling. It's fun. Some people make it. It is a lottery ticket. But if you can take anything away from this, you've been here the last few months. How you can critique is like invest in the coins that have been through these crashes before, because that's the only way that the snipers, all these nasty fucking people who have insider information are shaken out, is through those 90% corrections and those crashes. So, if you want to avoid this shit this time around, I would advise maybe looking at those coins that have done that. Polkadot's going up today, huh?
Yeah. So is Tau.
Polkadot's kind of up, not really. Tau. Yeah, it's crazy. We're like Tau's up today.
It's like 6%. Yeah.
It's up like 3%.
Bro, that's what this shit is like. Now you make like $100 on a trade. It's like a big dub if you don't like lose 50 grand overnight.
Yeah,
That's how
Yeah.
brutal it's gotten. So is this not the most brutal you've seen it, or it is, Bren?
like
Through all the cycles. Obviously, this comes, I'm sure, in many different faces, but kind of has this feeling where people think it's over. But there's just so many catalysts that I feel like, I don't know, there's so many bullish catalysts that I feel like should be going right. Is this something that you guys have felt before a billion times in every cycle? Just for anyone
yes. To unpack that question, like the second part, like we went over earlier, just like the Bitcoin ETF, the biggest, most bullish event that happened for Bitcoin started trading and the prices went down for fucking 25% for 3 weeks. And then like a month later, everything started to catch up. That's what happens oftentimes, right? Like when during shitty conditions, the most bullish of news is not going to have effect on price. But once that shit bottoms out, flows start going to the opposite side. That's when you really start to see like the fruits of all the positive stuff coming out. Because to be honest, like all this stuff has just been talks. Nobody's bought that Bitcoin yet, besides Bhutan and SpaceX. Texas hasn't bought yet. All these things haven't actually bought the Bitcoin. So yeah, it's just been news so far. But once the conditions improve and these people actually start buying the Bitcoin and doing all that stuff, you're going to start to see the actual price appreciation. Two, has this been the most brutal as far as like crypto Twitter, just like all out despair? Absolutely. I would say back in FTX time, we were already in a bear market. Like FTX happened right here. I think, where was it? Like right, no, what am I looking at? Right here, right? FTX, this is October 2022, I'm pretty sure, right, bro? It's like right here, we got the final low for FTX. We're already in a bear market, whereas now we've been in a bull market for 2 years. So FTX, yes, it was despair, but there was barely anybody like really trading already. But I think why it looks so bad now is because there's so many people in, and we just came off of that crazy euphoria for Trump, where like people are coming down from that. It's just an insane situation of all these things happening at once. So yeah, to answer your question, Yoni, definitely the most despair and mob mentality and like negative shit in the timeline. But when it comes to like actual shit being detrimental, FTX is way worse. There was billions of dollars that literally went missing. That billions of dollars that people thought was in the ecosystem completely gone, stolen from people. The money that was from Meteora, yes, like it is scammy. Maybe they did start extracting money from people.
I mean, these guys literally walked away with hundreds of millions of dollars on all
Yes,
these projects.
absolutely. But that money was already gone in people's eyes, right? Like it's not like that money was all of a sudden
Right.
missing. Fuck, that money's gone. Like
It
those
wasn't
people,
missing from the bank. They thought they spent it on something that they knew the risks on.
yeah, or they thought that money was just going to whoever else. They didn't know it was being funneled up to one person, which is still terrible. But at the same time, it's not as like such a liquidity suck from the industry like FTX was. So yeah, despair on crypto Twitter, definitely the most brutal. Definitely the most brutal as far as meme coin prices. But as overall like terrible for the industry, FTX is way worse.
Yeah, this when we were in FTX, we were already in this period of like going into the bear cycle. So it was, another kick to the gut when you were already experiencing this the sell off. Whereas right now you're expecting all time highs and bull market, and though there's been some chop, you still have this kind of bullish mentality, and to get kind of rugged or have this kind of situation arise, it's tough. It is really tough, but it's also a symptom of the nature of the game that we're playing in, right? The volatility in meme coins, and again the degree of scammers that can exist, right? It's the nature of crypto. I think FTX and Sam got spun up in this pretty easily, and it just shows what can happen. It shows what greed exists out there, and then what can occur, right? So I seen that Salami Crypto says, can someone explain why my comments are getting deleted? I don't know. I don't see how. I see that the chat has slowed down, so I don't know if there's something going on with chat. But I do have the stream open up into chat just to watch for any comments going on. But my comment is sticking up there. But yeah.
Salami, let us know. Like, try to type it again. Let us know if it happens. Maybe
Mhm.
a certain word or something. I doubt it though, man. But just know, yeah, nobody's deleting your comments. Sorry though, bro. Yeah, I like this change of pace for the show, more discussion wise. I mean, fuck. I mean, if you guys have any comments, questions, definitely leave it in the chat.
It's worthwhile regroup on what's all gone on, right? I think this is an important stream to kind of help everyone get their perspective going on where we are in the market and what's going on, and also to be very much aware of where your your allocations are, right? If you are looking to play in the meme streets, keep in mind that outside of maybe the top memes, these are lottery tickets, right? And when you play the lottery to accept to have a chance of getting rich, but at the same time, you're the probability of you not winning is very high, right? And there's stats out there on this is Pump Fun, so Pump Fun isn't all of it, but like less than 1% of the people that are in Pump Fun have made over 10K, and basically it's a zero sum game, right? So keep that in mind. The product of meme coins is for price to go up and for you to sell at a higher price than what you bought. And in that scenario, more people are likely to lose than win. And you just have to reframe of what you're doing and what you're playing in, and get with that, right? And so I think this stream is very helpful in kind of level setting where the market's at and getting thoughts. And if you're tuning in now, means you're still really connected, and that you should be able to understand where things are at and perform well. I see the chats are coming in.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty-
Yeah, Salami, I appreciate you breaking that up. I assume that's the end of your question. If you guys aren't able to send it like Salami, go ahead and post it on the actual post, or you guys can DM me. Let me know you DM me, and I'll read it. Smoke will rise says def appreciate you guys. Yeah, bro. Thanks for coming on. I like the Azuki. Or is that an elemental? I don't know, but Salami Crypto says, anyways, I remember the days when I was concerned about being down 5 to 10% of my portfolio. This is my first legit locked in cycle, and now I'm down 80%, but I've never been so convinced of a bull market being close by. I assume that's the end of your question. I don't, was there a question to that?
I think he's in the process of
Type in the rest.
typing his rest and telling his story there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Salami, if you want to DM it to me, just let me know. Just type DM and I'll check that out. But yeah, want to see what your question is on that. Group opinion from the speakers. Is it safe to say that we're just about to enter the bear trap within the next month? I mean, the term bear trap really is essentially just a correction. It's just another name for a correction. A lot of times people use the word bear trap thinking like market makers like moving price up really quickly before they move the opposite direction, stuff like that. But like on the higher time frames, a bear trap is essentially just a correction. So to answer your question on the higher time frames, I do think we are in a correction, tracking very similar to the corrections that we've gotten both in summer of 24 and summer of 23, and then another one kind of in the middle in January of the winter of 24. We could look more like the summer of 23 and hold 90K, head up from there, or look more like the summer of 24 where we get one more quick low under 90. Either way, I do think we are in a quote unquote bear trap on the higher time frames, where just like in 24, just like in 23, we'll bottom out, we'll move up, the strong memes will thrive. And I think this is going to be the strongest move we've seen yet, due to the frictionless environment that we're going to get regulatory wise. God willing, this whole Hayden thing doesn't completely fuck it up. But either way, I think with everything positive on the timeline, we just need the majors to bottom out and finish it up, corrections to improve. And just like we've seen before, crypto will see the best days yet. It's just a waiting game until that happens, man. Azuki, love that. Okay, Salami says DM. All right, hold up. Really quickly, what DM are you sending it to? Whose DM did you send it to the Bridge 3 Lab account? If not, we're not gonna be able to look at that. So you got to DM me on Twitter, bro. Typo at the end. My bad. You're good, bro. Salami, you got to send it to my DM, bro. But just if you could, bro, just post it on the actual post of the channel, like the post of the stream. I mean, man, that way I don't have to open my DM on the stream. You DM me? I don't see it, dude. Oh, I see. It's right here. Okay. Anyway, I remember these days when I was concerned about being down 5 to 10 of my portfolio. This is my first legit 80%. What was your experience your first year, also last year when you were shilling coins like Harambe and Locked In? What do you think about them now? Yeah, like we've been talking about Lock In. I'll start with the beginning of your question. Well, yeah, my first year, yeah, there's a lot to unpack in there, bro. My first year in trading, it was not primarily in meme coins. I was in the first 2015, 2016 cycle with altcoins and stuff like that. So definitely took some big drawdowns, but meme coins are just a completely different game. I started out in 2016, kind of in the middle of the bull market, didn't have a lot of capital like most people, kind of spun my wheels, made a little bit of money, lost a little bit of money. But really, like most people, the second cycle, because you be able to dial in your habits. You have pattern recognition of going through corrections and all these different things. Usually, that's when people thrive. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make money in your first few years, man. That's why I really try to put out the educational content, put out good habits, teach people how to take profits, do stuff to give people the best opportunity to make it within the first year. With that being said, your number one focus should always be learning the skills and picking up pattern recognition and all that. The money will come second. But once you get that pattern recognition, you dial in your risk management, you know what to look for, whatever it is, that's when you can really replicate it, all the time and continue to make money for years on end. A lot of people never do that. They chase the lottery tickets. They never actually become self-aware and learn these different skills. So they're just playing the lottery casino game, right? Only way you do that is you have to learn the skills, and whether it be chart wise, whether it be whatever game you're playing, in order to become self replicatable and in a self sustaining whatever trader. So that's what I would say. Focus on learning the skills. Get on these streams. Get in the Telegram channel. There's other great people to follow as well. But just focus on learning is what I'm saying, especially during these times, man. And the money and everything else will fall into place. But to answer your question, the second thing, lock in. Nothing's changed for me for sure on lock in. Harambe is a little bit of a different bet because it is a $7 million coin, which has come down 90% like a lot of these coins. But again, my thesis really hasn't changed too much on Harambe. When the market does recover, I think Harambe with a year in the game, being one of the biggest memes in the world, I find it very unlikely that it won't do well. But again, it is a different bet than SPX Gigamog lock in because it is very small market cap now. But yeah, that's my feeling. I still do think it does well this year. It's just got wrecked with the rest of the fucking market. And unfortunately, it never really got to 100 mil. So it's a lot smaller market cap at this point than a lot of these other coins. But that isn't. With that being said, I do think as long as the whole market doesn't collapse for like 6 months, I do think Harambe at least makes a run back towards that all time high.
Jesus. How is Fwog at 45 million after a 36% pump?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Guru got hired by Yuga Labs.
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, he's the art lead at Yuga, which obviously Yuga Labs created Bored Apes and they own Punks, Bored Ape or the Crypto Punks IP, all that. So, interesting development there.
Yeah, very curious to see what this means. And I mean, like, yeah, I'm surprised. Like, what is Yuga doing now for art, and what are they producing next, etc. But Groot and his art and what he's produced is so excellent that it's a good ad for them.
Yeah.
Is that bullish for Fwog or?
It's bullish if they add Fog in the pond to Yuga ecosystem, but other than that, it's hard to say it's bullish for Fog because it takes the attention off of Fog unless he's able to do both at the same time, which is also very possible.
Yeah, I asked that in this chat that I'm in. That like, is he still freely able to post the fog art? I haven't gotten an answer yet, but I assume that's part of the deal. Like, he'll probably still be able to do the fog stuff, and the who is that who has the somebody has a fat feedback. I can hear everything I'm saying.
I know. No, mine's muted.
Okay, maybe it was Rhodes.
It's probably me. I just my AirPods are acting up, so I took them off, and now I'm on speaker, and so that's
you're fine. But yeah.
Dude, Fwog is fucked. MLG? Oh my god. Sorry to make things worse. I'm going through it too, but fuck.
No, you're good, bro. This is what everybody's thinking right now.
Yeah, they can't even fucking hide it. Arc,
I, I I
dude.
think I think everyone wants a little bit of uh, therapy overall, right?
Yeah, like it would be just not real to just do anything else. Like these things have been fucking decimated.
And it's, I mean, at the end of the day, too, like if you're beating yourself up over this, it's like this is one of those, black swan type of events when it comes to meme coins, where like, you always know that there's a degree of dirt going on in meme coins, but like to this extent, and to have,
Yeah.
that's the aspect that catches everyone off guard, and it puts this panic in the streets when it comes to meme coins. So you know you you can't
Dude,
avoid
because it's always
these
because it's
situations.
always evolving, and because it's always evolving, it's like there's a new face to the same feeling. Like you feel like
Hmm.
you're watching for the things that you've learned before that you felt, and you think that you'd be able to get a good read on them, but it has a new face, and then it comes, and before you know it, you're staring at your bag down 50, like should I de-risk, and then you just hold all the way down to 80, 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier, man. If you're sitting here like the two things you can really improve, if you felt like you round tripped a lot, bags, or you're down a ton, is that especially with the AI stuff, the stuff that's new that hasn't been through these 50, 90% crashes, is taking profits just fucking way more aggressively. Even myself, man, like
Well, wouldn't you say that even for colt coins? I mean, like, I actually was thinking this, like, I agree that you're safer in these coins that you love that have been through these corrections, without a doubt, no question. But it's almost like, you know, it's relative. Like colt coins are down 75%, these other coins are down 85 or 88. Like, it's still
difference is though you zoom back 6 months from now, a lot of those other ones are just going to be dead. You got to
right.
understand a lot of people,
You're protected
a
from
lot of
being dead for
a lot of
sure. But
people have gotten tricked by this fucking bullshit of like, oh, everything's momentarily. All that matters is what happened today. That's not how markets work. Winners in any markets, crypto, are the people that are able to deploy patience, and it's just become this entire like culture of daily rotators. That's the only thing that's going to win, and it's absolutely fucked everybody. I'm telling you right now. Yes, 70% corrections are not great at all, and yes, maybe it depends on your goals. Maybe you want to take profits on the way up on those coins, but nobody is thinking what's going to happen 6 months from now. They're only worried about what's going to happen in the next week, and that's why they're completely fucked.
well,
6 months from
I
now,
agree with that.
all
But
that matters is 6 months from now, 8 months from now, really for anybody where your bag is. And again, what we've shown through these corrections, even just the last year, is the ones that do survive, that've been through these crashes, out of these corrections, go the craziest. And yeah, so I mean,
Well, I think that that's perfectly said on how to protect your risk from absolutely making sure that you don't go to zero, right? But if anything is crashing multiple times, 70% or more, potentially 50 to 70 or more on its way to going where it needs to go, couldn't there be a decent argument for everything should be traded to a certain extent if the entire ecosystem does that, even in the
not
successful
traded, taking
ones?
profits on the way up partially,
Yeah,
sure.
like
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're up 10%, 10x on anything, like that's what I've always
Well,
preached and
not even
advocated.
a 10x. Of course, a 10x seems more obvious, right? For sure. But like, you could take me for example. Like, we don't know when we're really truly buying the tops of these things or when these things are going to curve on us, right? Something only is holding a certain value and it looks as valuable as it looks in the ecosystem at the time, and then you can kind of catch a correction or a black swan or something happens, and then it's pulling back on you like crazy. So even these coins, right? Like Mog, someone could have been buying around 1 billion, and already been down like 70%, I think, right? Relatively quick.
Yeah, but again, you got to look at meme coins. It's impossible. It could have reversed from here. We could have gone up. That's
Right.
just
So you're just
that's
saying you can't time it. Like, for example, when you see a double top on Sol, would you advise anyone to de-risk at that point in meme coins and stuff that are more thing? Or is your
again, it just
sentiment
depends on
like,
the coin. It depends on everybody's goals, man. Like again, with Mog, SPX, Giga, I'm going based on these fucking 6 or 7 corrections it's been on before.
right?
That's my bet that they're going to go higher because again, that's what happens every time out of these corrections. And they have the strong things. My time frame is in 6 months. 6 months, a year from now, yes, 70, 80% corrections aren't great. You definitely, and I don't feel as fucked up as a lot of people because on Mog, for example, you
Yeah, your
first got in
entry.
at 25 mil.
Right, your entry
Entries and all that
protection.
stuff matters. But my whole point is, I'm not getting into specifics. I'm using a random number. But right now, yeah, my bag's down, whatever. But if what plays out, what I think is going to play out, which has happened all these other corrections, and normies haven't even come in yet, whatever, like we get in the other cycles, and this thing goes to 5-10 billion like I think it is, and I'm up again, random number, 40-50 million, nothing fucking matters, right? Doesn't matter that you took a 50-60% correction. Yes, it isn't good, but if the end goal, based on your thesis, plays out, then it's all worth it. And nobody's thinking that way. Everybody's thinking what's going to go on now because that's the culture, but nobody's deploying patience, and that's why almost nobody's going to fucking
Well,
really
I think in their defense, it's become harder, right? It's become harder to see when they see these things drop so dramatically, so many coins, so many things. I think it's hard for people that haven't been here before to
It's tough,
understand.
but unfortunately, that's just the reality. And I'm not trying to be harsh, but it's again like we've seen this happen again 70%, 70%. So why should we expect any different, right? It's just a part of the game. And yes, to your point, yeah, maybe you should take profits on the way up. But if your end goal, again, is just part of the game, if your end goal, you think this thing's going to 10 billion, taking 50% off here, like it's just, I understand why some people don't. But you got to take partial profits. I agree on almost anything. And I don't, um, I don't discriminate on that. Like something like Mog, SPX, Giga, I haven't taken profits on, but pretty much everything else, I have. And I don't. If somebody would want to do that on Mog, SPX, Giga, I don't, and I don't argue against it. Definitely do it. But again, my targets are higher, and I think that again, if the market doesn't totally collapse, then they're going to get there at least half to where I think at 5 billion. For me, it's all worth it at that point. So everybody has different goals and visions, right? Salami says I left another comment on the post now. All right. I don't see it, Salami. I don't know if my computer's lagging, but I don't see it, bro. Maybe I'm not looking at it. Hold on. How does anyone deal with their emotions, bro? You just gotta. I don't know how long you've been trading, bro, but you just gotta. It literally just takes going through this. That's why I tell people like time in the game and just going like having going through multiple cycles is just a superpower. There's plenty of people who I know are just not even like the craziest, smartest people, but who've just been through these corrections and have lived through their emotions going up and down. And they're able to every time this happens, they're able to better regulate and make better decisions. So bro, I don't have any other advice to you except to just go through it and just realize like the emotions are going to come. You're going to feel up and down. You're going to feel like shit. That's just the way. With big, fucking huge 10x, 20x life changing gains comes these nasty corrections. It's just a trade off, right? It's momentum to both sides. So I don't have any advice to your last question otherwise, brother, than just to tighten up and go through it. That's the only way. And it's tough. And I know tighten up, whatever. It sounds rough, but like it's really the only way to do it is you have to just live through it. And every time, for better or worse, you become more numb to these things. It's just like anything, right? Your first time I don't know, first time doing anything hard, it's tough, it's rough, but and then your last question, deal with emotion attachment to the specific coin. I think Yoni can attest to this too. It's just like the best learning lessons sometimes come from just dealing with the pain. Like I read in a book one time, like your brain and the body reacts way more to pain and like avoiding pain than pleasure. So sometimes the best learning lesson, the way to not get attached to coins, is getting wrecked sometimes, bro. So that's what I would say. If you're wrecked on a coin right now, if it's on a good one, hopefully you'll recover and you'll learn the lesson either way. But I mean, the ones you'll just learn by going through it, man. Um, this time again, if you have too much in a coin, you win all in. Just use less risk on one coin. Don't go all in, and then just take profits more aggressively. That's really the only way to do it. It's a good question though, Salami. I shot you a follow back. Let's see. This is Alex Becker is talking about he's gonna Launches meme in the peak despair. I think that one might actually run because he's talking about how he's not going to keep any of it.
Which Alex
Alex
Becker?
Coin, yeah.
Did he just launch something?
No, he just said he's. It'd be funny. He said releasing my meme coin in the at peak despair and controversy is probably the darkest, funniest thing I can do. So I'll probably do that. Uh, let's see. But yeah, did anything go down in NFT land this week besides anything really?
Yeah, there's a bit. Mostly OpenSea, they walked back some of their points system. They put a pause on things because the feedback was pretty significant that you guys are just running back Blur 2.0, and Blur 2.0 is not as a terrible idea because Blur really created a lot of sell pressure on not sell pressure per se, but it was incentivized trading, so you could trade at a loss and still be profitable. And the feedback was pretty negative towards OpenSea's incentive program, so now they've paused that, and they're going to reward people for just buying and holding NFTs and basic stuff. So that's kind of gone on over a little bit, but overall, for the most part, NFTs are reflecting some of the sentiment in the market. Not a lot of gainers overall, and kind of continuing that same path. So not a lot of news overall. I think some of the bigger news is just Groot joining Yuga. That's interesting to see, but overall, pretty quiet. From what I gather, again, I've been laid out since Friday, so I haven't been able to catch up on everything. So we'll go from there.
Yep. Yep. I think we're just waiting again, just some kind of catalyst for NFTs. I think it's coming, but again, I think like Max was talking about last week on stream, the RWAs and stuff, which BlackRock and stuff are trying to implement on chain, directly relates NFT technology, obviously, which just the technology itself, catching traction, especially if they're talking about it in the media, could be it, and what ignites like the bull run and the speculative NFT side. So we'll see what
Yeah,
plays out with that.
it's a stream I'm gonna have to go back and listen to. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I look forward to it. From what I hear, Max was an excellent guest to have on, so I'll go back and listen to it and catch up on that as well.
Right on. Yeah, I think we'll have him
yeah,
on next week too again. But it was yeah, it was great. I wish you could have been there.
if I had known where I was at Friday versus where how bad I got sick over the weekend, then I most likely should have shown up to Friday, because I was sick, but I was not. I think I'm worse off today than I was on Friday at that point. So, but so I'm sad I missed it. But at least I'm back and recovered now.
Hell yeah, brother! Glad to hear it.
And the markets are going to recover with me, right? Is that what we got going on?
Yep. Yes, sir. Let's hope so. Why'd some guy say lock-ins up 75% today? What the? It's not true. Fake me out. Lock up 75% on the worst days in history. What? Am I looking at the wrong locked in?
Shit,
There's no 75. Maybe just the last little bit.
He's just fucking shit posting. I don't know. Oh, was this yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 20 minutes ago. I don't know.
And then the first comment after that is rude. So maybe it's just a fake out.
Oh yeah, Michael Saylor buying 2 billion Bitcoin.
He's raising $2 billion to buy it.
Yep. Buy the fucking dip. BTFD. Unicorn fart dust. What is this shit at?
35 mil.
Whatever happened, do they like give him a lot more? Like give him his supply back? Like what the fuck? Like that he got drained. Whatever happened with that? Anybody know?
I do
No.
not know. It didn't die from it all though, I guess, even though it's
Just down 90.
down bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lo-fi at 24 million is insanity.
Don't remind me.
Bro.
Nasty. Nasty fucking work. God damn.
Bro. What?
I mean, dude. Yeah. Sweet, yeah. Anytime any of these fucking dead, like, non-active chains, whenever we go through these, like, the fucking memes just get...
Is that even a correction? I mean,
anything could be a correct, like, to be fair, like, chart-wise, this looks way fucking better than this. But that doesn't mean, like, Zero Bro could
oh my God.
consolidate and head back up while Lo-Fi doesn't, but just chart-wise, this looks way more corrective than that.
Did you open up Fog?
Yeah, we already looked at it, dude. Don't
Oh.
don't fucking remind me, dude. I'm just playing. Yeah, on a good day, him getting announced as a Yuga shit would have fucking sent it. But I kind of sending it, but not really. Sending it off this 30 million low. What the?
Oh my God, bro. This is at 700 million.
Yep. Yep.
It's a joke, bro.
Fucking.
Like, I get it. And I get that they're good prod, but come on.
Is this a good project anymore? God damn, dude.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just too, it's like, I don't know.
Spaced Faceless asks, what's the take on greed?
Some greedy ass shit. That's
Yeah, if you want to fucking gamble, go ahead.
Yeah, you want to gamble?
Remember when Portnoy was all in on the jail, right?
The bottom line, the only thing that protects you from Portnoy stuff is entry. If you have an entry sub 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, then cool, you could ride it and get out, you know. And this could be a correction and then go back up. But ultimately, like, unless it's fuck off money and you don't care if you burn it, you have to really trade super hard, super fast, have a great entry, be watching his every move, have his wallets tracked to stand a chance. Like, if you get it 20 minutes later, you're late.
He's a guy you want to like, but he's a guy who's just there to suck out liquidity just as much as anyone else.
Like, that's the reality behind all this shit. It's insane. Like, you're late. 20 minutes is late now. Like, way late. Like, you can get dumped on, which is just, I never knew this to be like this. Obviously, you know, you have to get in relatively fast, and the earlier, the better. But being late within 20 minutes is insane.
If you take one thing from the fool Hayden said, which I think is actual truth, is that he said, literally all of these new coins are a scam. Literally 90% of them are a fucking scam by nature. And then the ones that get completely die and then are CTO'd by like actual people are the ones that survive. And that's the ones we talk about with SPX and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the shit is just...
So should everyone just sell out of all their AI coins? Like, what's like...
No, because again, right now, a lot of those 90... AI is a little bit different because it wasn't as much snipers. I mean, they probably are behind the scenes, right? A little bit different,
right? A lot of them are launched on Pump Fund too.
Yeah, but my whole point is the only way you unscamify these coins is by these crashes, right? Like, that's the only way. The only way you shake out the snipers, and then a lot of coins die and never get CTO'd because nobody gives a fuck. But there's something to be said for the coins that do. Look at this shit. See ya. That was fun. Thanks for playing.
Did you just dump it?
Thanks for playing, guys.
Yep. GG.
This isn't even a
Wow.
casino, bro. Like casino, you have a 50-50 shot.
We literally were just talking about this. Thank God for anyone that was on screen. I mean, on stream.
Yeah, hopefully
What
nobody bought
happened?
this to
Oh
be
my
ever on
goodness.
stream. Like, fuck, but
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know people. I saw people trench in at like a couple $100K, and they're still selling out because it's like
He
they
was
don't have
probably
faith.
just said, "Hey, fuck it, I'm selling it all. You guys fucking suck," and
Yeah, they asked him
that's
when
it.
he was
That's all he is. That's
They
what he
asked
does.
him they asked him when are you gonna sell. He literally responded on his Twitter while we were on stream, like whenever the fuck I want.
Beanie said made a good point today where like a lot of it says the biggest come up this cycle. It may not be Hayden. It may be sim swappers that pivoted at the right time. The insider information. He said the people that tagged earlier in this other post are the most notorious sim swappers, Carters, Fisher. So essentially, a lot of these people that are snipers are people that are literally just straight credit card scammers in the in past years. So a lot of the time, these are the type of people who are sniping projects are literally like.
I have a buddy. They're just pirates fucking everywhere, which is honestly just it's too much. I have a buddy who literally just got a Phantom wallet for the first time like 3 days ago. Just had a couple $100 in. He got drained within 48 hours. Like he wasn't even like he was being cautious, like not to click on random links. He still doesn't even know how he got drained.
Probably his computer's compromised, bro, already.
Maybe, but yeah, he
Yeah,
literally
if you click on anything, that's the only way. Or unless he get a fake Phantom wallet or something, but his computer's probably already infiltrated. I would have him clear that shit off. It's crazy to see people turn on each other, like fucking insane. Did you see what he said about Malay's sister?
No.
He said, "I control that N word. I send that money to his sister, and he signs whatever I say and does what I want."
When did he say that?
They just revealed like
Who
CoinDesk or something found something he said in some chat or some shit.
what? He's talking
What
about
the?
Yeah, he said that. It was reported by CoinDesk and shit too. It's not just a shit posting. It's real. He's referring to the sitting president of Argentina.
bro.
What would you do if you see this guy right now at the store?
Spit on him.
He's got those sick shades too, bro. Those sick glasses.
He looks like what's his name? What's that guy?
Did
What's
you
the
hear
best that
one
meme
guy's
guy on?
story? He said he said this guy like invited him to Nobu and then pretended to be on the phone during when the check came for like 35 minutes until he
Who hate him?
Yeah.
Rotes, what were you gonna say?
I'm trying to. The guy that has the ridiculous face on X, that's always like posting silly stuff and replying to everyone. What's his guy? What's that guy's name?
Barney or whatever the fuck his name is.
No, it's
something,
like it's like Phil or like it's like a singular name,
yeah, he does
and,
exactly well.
and he's got like the triple quadruple chin.
Yeah,
This guy looks like him, right? Like just. Oh my goodness, that's the guy.
bro. What you guys posting on my the fucking feed, bro? I'm on stream. You trying to get me banned? No, I'm just kidding. Luckily we're on Twitter, bro. Hyperliquid just launched their layer 1.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
We did a little bit before.
You think it's over? You think it's over?
Greg. Yes, Greg. There we go. He looks like a version of Greg. Why do I want to call him Phil? It's definitely Greg.
The knuckle bubbler.
Jeez, that's fancy.
The fuck am I?
That's some fancy shit,
feed, bro. Like, this is the state of my fucking feed right now. What the fuck?
Is that Portnoy?
Right here? Nah. I hope.
You sure? It probably is. No, doesn't it look like him?
Yeah, that's like some picture that leaked of him like a few years ago or some shit. Damn, the greatest lobster fest. We're down bad.
Look at me. I'm up 8 million on greed.
You dank fuckers are really like rating hard. I mean, I appreciate
I know. I noticed that.
Fine. I'll look at your fucking chart, guys.
The one day we don't have Danksy here.
Yeah.
We're getting rated by Dank.
I mean, dude, anything right now, just going to these shitty conditions, man, it's just, you really have a lot of headwinds. What I will say, lack of consolidation on here. Obviously, a strong move while the rest of the market was shit. So there's definitely something to be said about that. With that being said, as you can see, these corrections sometimes get pretty fucking deep, like everything else we've seen. So just be careful. Even though this is a lack of consolidation, this correction could turn into a 50-60% correction easily. So, I mean, if you're in down here, don't be afraid to take some profits, lock in some gains. Best case scenario, it just does another short term correction and continues going. But, I mean, you're really in these shitty conditions. It's dangerous, man. It could easily turn into a correction very fast. So, lock in some gains if you haven't already. It's probably what I would do. I think dank memes is like a something like an older thing, but I don't know. I hope it turns into something for you guys. I know it's already looks pretty good, so.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. So, like, what's your advice to people whose bags are down bad that are holding? When would you tell them to judge it? When Sol is back, right? If this is their first major correction, like a lot of this AI stuff, if this is the first major correction that it has, when do you think is a fair time to judge on whether something is dead, it's come back, or you should probably rotate whatever you have left into a different project?
Around the time when the majors bottom out, right? It's not a perfect fucking science, but yeah, I mean, around the majors when they bounce back, you want to see what's bouncing back hardest, whatever. But again, like I told you, I think the biggest thing to avoid this is one, if you feel like your entire port got wrecked during this thing, you were too heavy into that AI stuff. It doesn't matter if it's AI, DeSci, fucking the best cat meme in the world. If it's brand new and hasn't been through a 90% correction yet and shown that it can survive that, you shouldn't be having a large percent of your portfolio in that. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to learn, and a lot of people had to get burnt now to see that. But you have to put these coins in a different basket, right? Like that's what I did. That's why I have 10 times more money in the coins like SPX, Gig, and Mog in this AI thing, for the number one reason that these things were brand new. That's number one. Two, I think a lot of people, their problem was that they didn't buy and it just dumped out on them. A lot of people were up. They thought the shit was going to continue. Their favorite streamer was saying fucking AGI is going to be built on Solana. So they round tripped a lot of gains. Take profits more aggressively on these new things, because if it's fucking musical chairs, if the market decides to pull out the rug on the majors, your shit could go to zero. So I think number one, not being so heavy of your portfolio or these newer things. Two, taking profits more aggressively, getting risk free. And then three, if you're already down bad 80%, you want to know if the shit's going to recover. Kind of watch how strong things bounce within a few weeks, or like within a week of the majors, at least nearing all time highs. Right? If the majors are nearing all time highs and a week later your coin's still not doing much, then it might not fucking go back to all time highs. Right? Again, don't be so fucking intricate. Like on the day the majors hit all time high, if my coin's not going up, I'm dumping it. But just around that time, that's what I would say.
We're a bit away from all-time high right now.
Yep, but you see where price is at on the way up. Took fucking 10 days to get from here to all-time highs. So,
oh really? That's what I was gonna ask next. From Solana's, from like a 120 or 130 low.
I'm talking
like
about Bitcoin, but let's look at Sol.
Yeah, like on Sol. Sorry.
Even then,
I'd really like to see the daily close rate of what where we're at right now.
Even then, it took fucking 3 days. Well, that was the Trump thing. But even here, if you look at where we're at now, though, how long it took to get back to all-time highs, it's still 16, 17 days. So
20 days, you said, about 17, 18 days to go to all-time high?
Yeah. As you can see, impulses happen quick, right? That's what you want to be catching. Corrections, slow and drawn out. Impulses.
What about, by the way, I know we're not saying anyone could like stick to exactly what everyone says, but Murad still I still see those posts that say February all-time highs.
You gotta understand, people like ride people's shit so hard, like just like
But what are the
everybody.
chances? What are the chances that somehow it still happens?
I don't know. Did he even say all time
Yeah,
high? I think people
yeah.
literally just repost the fucking shit as like a joke, like they continue it up.
No, I
That's
think no. They continue it up, which I do think is funny because he said January and then February. But there were some all-time highs, not on the not some majors got all-time highs in January and February, right? And some memes did also. Not in February, but in January, I mean.
yeah, I know. And
So let's
everybody's fucking been bullish the last few months too. It's just people look for people to fucking blame for their being down bad.
oh, there it is. I'm just saying, what are the chances he's still right in February?
Oh, in February?
Yeah. Because
Depends. Like on the
he's
meme.
still like doubling down on some of these things.
Yeah. I mean,
You think he's
again,
just doing that? You think he's just doing that to be ultra bullish for the community and to like stand for something, or do you think he really believes this shit?
He
he
doesn't really
really
have much to lose at this point.
he really believes it, but it's just you gotta understand, like anybody who posts on these platforms, like it's not a lie, but people, it's like shit posting. It's like over exaggerating. People play character, like it's like conviction, like we talk about, like Alex Becker, for example. He's an extreme example of that, like where some of it's satire, but then like a lot of it, like, what he believes
His
in what he's saying.
his personality is satire, but I find it that like, and it's exaggerated, of course, and theatrical. But his advice, you can never pinpoint exactly when a time happens, but usually when he's giving advice on something, it's stuff that he's believing and he's practicing on his own. I don't think it's like shit posting. I think the exaggerated
That's
characters,
what people do, like a lot of people aren't either smart enough or they're just not realizing the difference. Like there's
right?
shit posting, and then when he's being funny, and you can just tell, and it's a lot easier to tell on video, right? And then there's when people are being serious, right? Like it's just like a mix of the two. And when he's talking about Cardano being like fucking
Yeah,
people's whatever,
yeah.
all that shit, like it's a joke. Like people just can't separate the two sometimes, right? But to answer your question, no, Murad definitely believes what he's saying, bro. And if anything, he has the most well thought out thesis. He's been right more than anybody. You see in
Right.
those interviews that we were watching before, he even
That's
said
why I was bringing it up. Yeah, he predicted all this shit. It's almost like
he
he's
said we're gonna have multiple 90% corrections in this
yeah.
cycle.
I don't know how people are even fading him now because now it's almost like everything is proving. He sounds like a prophet to me. He like predicted how many coins would come out, scams, people would get fucked on all these things. I mean, it's already happening, but it's
Yep.
almost like all playing out to a T. That's why I'm like, if somehow by God's miracle, by the meme God's miracle, we get all-time highs in February somehow, then he's a prophet. He's a meme prophet.
I think he's gonna be right about all this shit anyway. The thesis, like I don't, the fact that everybody fucking
He can't be right about everything.
fades that thesis, he is fades that thesis about all. It's just proven the cult type shit. The fact that everybody fades that too tells me mob mentality, and then people are just in it for the fucking quick, fucking. Most people are just in it for the quick, whatever lottery ticket type like mentality, and that's fine. But that's not investing. That's not how you build wealth. All this different shit. So I think Murad's gonna be on the right side of history. I love Murad. I've learned a lot from him, and the
I think
fact that
so.
everybody like the general consensus is to fade him makes me way more bullish on him long term. If everybody was thinking this, then I would push back
No,
against it. Bro.
there's some stuff in the comments just to not negate it. People are talking about, well, they want to know essentially what you think on these coins coming back. Fred, UFD. I feel like all these are sitting in the same place, right? Like we'll see what happens after these corrections and what lasts and what comes out and what bounces.
Yeah, like Yoni said, this is like the first 90% corrections. It's a rite of passage for all these coins. It's either do or die. They fucking come back or they don't. Fred, I still see a lot of people asking about it. Still seemed like there was like a somewhat of a community with it. So I would like to see some consolidation on Fred for several more weeks and then a big shift up. Honestly, I don't have a crazy strong opinion on this. If I had to guess, probably more likely that at least makes a run back to all time highs. I mean, makes a run, but we'll see if it goes back to all time highs. It's down 99%. Like, it's like less than 99 at this point. I'm sorry, more than 90. It's like 99.1%. So, to answer your question, it's 50-50, man. I mean, 99% probably makes it less than 50-50, but
Yeah.
yeah. That's why again, investing the coins that have already gone through this gives you way more of a fucking peace of mind and way more of a chance. And again, it's not just because they went through that, it's because going through that puts the concentration of the supply into diamond handed holders, um, which is why it doesn't get crushed as hard as the other ones.
Someone just asked, Yoni, have you looked at adapting your strategy for spotting AI coins towards RWA and DPIN? They seem more related to AI than DPIN, or they seem more related to AI than memes. So figured you might be good at spotting those if sentiment is shifting away from memes. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I kind of was on an alt run. A little bit about my story. I was on an alt run and had like a pretty extensive portfolio. It was pretty much just in alts until I had my whole port rinsed for like literally everything. And then I kind of had to start over. I sold a bunch of things, and then my way of getting back, I loved a lot of the alts, but I just didn't have size to play them. The only way for me to really get the size I wanted and do the X's I needed, which is a little bit greedy in itself, kind of saying it out loud, but I saw it within memes. The sentiment was better. Things were holding. I bought into Murad's thesis. Me and Bren had linked up and started chatting. So at the time, I just felt like all the opportunity really was in memes, even though it was super volatile, and especially on Sol primarily. If this sentiment carries out longer, or if for whatever reason the boys like Bren or whoever get bearish on Sol, or I have to switch up things to potentially look at alts or look at anything that has volume, then that's what I'll do. You know, I think that there are a lot of great coins that actually do shit. I guess we'll just see what bounces and what's truly important to the ecosystem, or whether this is all just kind of like, you know, a little bump on the road to where we're all going.
Absolutely. Great answer and great question, Rojam. I would say he's like somebody like Yoni who's really fucking like learned this shit. Like I saw him maybe 10, 15, 20 coins, AI coins mostly, that he'd spot that he took from, you know, a 4 or 5x with size, with good size every time. Somebody like that, this could be you. You know, if you focus on that, doesn't matter if it's AI, DPIN, whatever it is, as long as there's decent market conditions, you'll figure it out. So that's why I'm so big on fucking Yoni's the perfect example. If you focus on building the skills, whether it be on chain, charts, whatever the fuck it is, if you focus on that, and that takes losses, it takes a lot of stress, especially if you're like speed running it like Yoni is. But my point is, if you do that, if you go through that period of 3 or 4 months of eating shit, learning this stuff, you can print forever, whether it's DPIN, whatever the fuck it is. So it's a great question. Oh, and by the way, I can share this now because it was uh, confirmed to be fake. But somebody posted this earlier. Murad sold all his SPX OTC to get Galaxy Digital, whatever. And then these people share these fucking pictures. Here, I'll pull it up. People share these fucking pictures of like these like sheets where it says all this stuff, like, oh, Murad sold to the Galaxy Digital. Even somebody posted a Galaxy Digital badge right next to it, trying to make it look all real. I asked Murad and he said it was fake, but then if you look at this guy right now, he just confirmed that it's fake. But just crazy people go through.
These scammers will go to all links.
Yeah, like you really got to
right?
be. The truth is, it's just not worth trading unless you get an insane entry when the sentiment is this bad. Like, it just doesn't even make sense when you think about any of the things. You have to be a CIA agent when you're fucking looking through these coins. Like, you got to look at whether the website was changed, the dev, what are their tokens, the bundling. You have to do this all within minutes. Within minutes, otherwise you're late. Like, it doesn't even make sense anymore, really.
Yeah, and I think these insiders or like these scammers, like they know this and they go even more aggressive to be like super scammy as an example, like as an excuse, because they know most people are going to be like just blame it on the market conditions anyway. So I feel like they're just more likely to just be like straight extractive during this time.
And I think a lot of the people that win their Yoni are the people that are just firing bullets at almost everything, right? And
yeah, like
they don't have the chance to look at everything, but they, fire bullets at new things and then circle back and check it out, right?
Yeah, from my experience in memes, and again, this isn't an experience that's multiple cycle like you or Bren, and this isn't a vast experience like zoomed out over multiple cycles like I keep reiterating. This is just from my experience now. You either believe and hold in the things that fundamentally make sense and prepare and continue to add to them in times like this, and you just play out your thesis, or you get really good at getting an edge using every tool possible, still accepting that it's gambling and you have a fat stack of cash, you have your positions, and you're playing positions for like 2 or 3 days at a time. Again, I don't like to do that, and that's not what I'm going to be doing, because it's really not a life unless you're so, even when you're so tapped in. But I just don't see any other two ways to play this situation. Like, either you're getting an edge, you're using all the tools, you're seeing things super early, and you still have a fat stack of cash where you're just playing blackjack and you recognize that, and you're playing the odds with an edge, or you're preparing for 70% downside. You're either taking profits or risk allocating that way, and you're buying and holding for the long run. I don't see any other way.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Like, there's no such thing as swing trading on memes that are this volatile. It's like you're gonna get rinsed.
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm glad you came on here today, man. Always love to hear this fucking perspective, dude, from the dude.
Yo, everyone that was asking about greed, Brent, do everyone a favor, pull it up one time. Let me ask us our opinion on it. This is why.
85%.
If you guys would have bought that, the second you bought it, you would have got dumped on your head. 80%.
Shit.
Within a second. Literally within 20 seconds of asking that question, if you would have taken it, that's an 80% dump on your head. I'm seeing buys come in on it right now. People are trying to trade their way out of it, buying it at like 4 million, 3 million because they bought so high.
Like, they're trying to buy it and then take profits on that when it's...
Yeah, like you just see some of these big buyers that you'll see buy, like maybe they bought it like 12, 15, which was still a decent entry. Like before they got to 2x, it'll come down 70%, and they'll just try to trade their way out, doing big buys, trying to convince people that it's still, there's price action there when they're just trying to bring their average down to get an exit.
Look at this nasty work. Look at this sniper. $16, 435K.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Fuck this shit, dude.
What the hell?
This is
Right?
literally just scam.
Also, Portnoy is aping into stuff at so low that he's controlling so much of the supply. Like,
He's really putting himself like close to the sun, bro. He must really trust that he has a lawyer like that, like really is telling him the right shit, because dude, he's
I
close
think-
to that. He's close to that Hayden guy, and then he launches another one of these that's clearly like just like, I don't know, man.
I think he's just kind of like, I guess he's saying what everyone else thought, but when this all started happening, right? As soon as Trump launched, we all kind of said the same thing out loud as a joke. We just thought, okay, it stops with the president. But it's like when you give everyone free reins with a platform to do whatever the fuck they want, and essentially say, until this is regulated, like it is what it is. I mean, I just don't know why we wouldn't expect logical, normal people with an influence that don't mind people hating them because they don't know them online, that actually care about making money, even if they're rich, and are like, wait a minute, I'm allowed to do this? No one is going to stop me? I mean, okay. Like, I think anyone would, like, I don't think Portnoy minds being the villain because he sees it for what it is. Other people do it and have done it forever. So he's like, I guess I can do it too, right? What's the problem? Like, it's unethical. It's unethical, obviously, but people have always done this within the space, and he's just kind of doing exactly what Trump teed everyone up to do, right?
Where's Gary Gensler when you need him? I'm
Right.
joking, but like honestly, like
imagine?
this
Can you
Wild
imagine
West right now is
still?
just crazy.
Can you imagine if he was still like fucking?
He would
in
just be
charge, like,
he would be salivating at Portnoy
Is
right
there
now
really
for
no
sure.
way to turn snipers like off? Like these companies can't prevent like a sniper feature. Like they can't
Well,
just turn
first
it
of
off.
all, Meteora, it's very likely that they were in on it, so like that's why this shit's so rampant. But
But I
if-
just mean, even moving forward, like someone that wanted to come in and regulate, they wouldn't be able to hypothetically be like, all of these services have to shut off sniper features, like where
they can
everyone
make it harder for them, but the people are likely, I think, from what I understand, like these scammers and these people that are really good at like with this botting shit, they're always going to find a way to get, at least a few people are always going to find a way to get the contract address early. I think with Meteora, the problem is they were giving it out to like fucking bunch of fucking people, like everybody's family was getting these contract addresses, shit like that, and then on top of that, they were giving them like a piece of the supply and all this fucking scam shit. But with that being said, even if there was somebody who like had good intentions, I think there's still, and Rhodes might be able to tell you more than me. Like I think there's always going to be some way these people are going to get the contract addresses early. What do you say, Rhodes?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, fair launch wise, I don't know like I said, like the scams have been so deep for so long that it's hard to get around it. But like I'm sure there is a way to like get this a little bit more fair launch, but it's not there at the moment, right? And until it's fixed, like it's going to continue, right? And so you would have to see a new platform, a new process, kind of take shape before any of that changes, and that's not going to happen likely anytime soon.
You have people like Hayden Adams though, who created Uniswap. He says that it's not that hard to do a good/fair token launch. So if it's
Right.
tokens, probably. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, you have differing opinions on that. That's why I'm saying I don't know. I'm not really like big on that side of things. So I don't know. Maybe there is a
Well,
way.
you've seen people like in earlier days, like not so long ago, like even KOLs that wanted to launch a coin or stuff like that. You would hear them like trying to shake out snipers, right? Where they would launch like a few coins and they would maybe wait a few days before like making anything official or launching it or doing whatever. And a lot of these snipers like would it would shake out a good amount, but a lot of these people didn't even care for that, right? Like they didn't even seem to care to kind of go out of their way to make anything fair. I don't know. It just
I think when you have like a coin like Trump and 5 people hear about it, it's going to spread to 1 million people really quick. So you don't really have like the luxury of shaking out snipers or whatever, if that's really a thing. Like, so I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard to do that on the big
And
projects.
do you think if the sentiment was better and money was flowing, let's say Sol was back above 250, these scams that have come out recently, whether it's well, I think Libra would have been a big deal no matter what, right? But some of these other coins, it just wouldn't be as big of a deal. People would just kind of like wash them out because the sentiment is better. Or like, do you think these are being blown out because of the sentiment, or do you think
Yeah,
that
everything's definitely being made worse. Like it always is when people are down bad and just like conditions are worse. Yeah, I think. I mean, these kind of scams were happening, right? The Libra shit's just like presidential thing, but these guys, the Meteora people, were doing these with probably hundreds of projects, right? So, well, not Meteora, the Keisler or whatever the fuck with Hayden and shit. So I think the shit was going on, but people were making money. So it's nobody's looking into it, or it's just I don't know. Yeah, I think it takes like a big crash in prices to go down for this shit to get exposed sometimes. This guy said, I just lost my life savings. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck Dave's doing, but everybody's just
also people aren't realizing like even on these Dave coins, like getting out with the slippage not murdering you is also a thing. Like having these coins have the proper liquidity, being able to get in and like, getting in is one thing. Even getting out with your full amount. Like I saw one swap on it that gave up like it was like 3 million, and he was able to swap like he got 300K for it because it was coming down hard, and he just wanted to get his money out before it thing.
yeah.
People forget about that. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like
you could hit 1 million for like 600K, and then by the time you get your shit out, it's like 150 because the volatility, the slippage, and low liquidity.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, people are like, oh yeah, you can make 100x, but it's like with $20.
Right.
Sometimes it's like, yeah, it's just a different game, and that's why it's just a different game, man. And I get it. It's like if you turn $1,000 times 100, like that's fucking massive. But like you said, when you try to get out of that, not as easy. Other news, what the fuck is this? In other news, what the fuck is this? This is fucking some giga shit. What the fuck?
That's the Crimson Chin.
The Crimson Giga Chin. Damn, everybody's crashing out, even little TJ.
Yeah, he's about to spit on that guy. Look, ready? 3, 2, 1.
God damn, bro. It's so fucked up. Fuck.
Yeah, bro.
It's been a different vibe on the stream today for sure. Not much chart wise and everything to look at, but man, all you can do is just a waiting game for the majors. Just kind of learn what you can from the going forward with this. But what we can take away from this is really the majors still look really decent, which again what drives these cycles and what drives these bullish phases. And then what we can hang our hats on is really like all the positive catalysts and stuff coming from regulatory wise and all these people buying Bitcoin, which is not just temporary news. Where if this happens, it will have structural effects on crypto, positive structural effects on crypto forever for months ahead. So I know it's time. With so much going on in crypto, I know it's really easy to hyper focus on a few days, but zoom out, do your best to deploy some patience because the people that do and think on a little bit longer of a time frame in months and in years tend to win. So, I mean, just hang in there. Again, if you're in the good coins, SPX, Giga, Mog, these ones that have survived these 70-80% crashes before, very likely you will be fine. But yeah, not gonna lie, it's rough. It's brutal, but I think we will definitely live. I think the best times are definitely ahead, not just for our coins, the industry, and your portfolio. If you learn from all this, but yeah, I think we'll stay on for like a couple more minutes, but we're coming up on a couple hours. Anything else we missed, guys?
No, I
I'd
don't.
say it was an impressive rally there to go from maybe an hour or maybe not stream to maybe an hour to 2 hours. So
Yeah.
excellent work. I think this was great, and we covered a lot. And yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how things kind of play out over the next few days. I think it's important to stay connected to understand exactly how things are shaking out.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
we appreciate you guys.
things
Yeah,
like this are so much more necessary than crypto Twitter. Like honestly, get on good stream, come here. Don't get on crypto Twitter. Like that shit almost had me capitulating like 5 times. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, man. Crypto Twitter is great when times are great. It's great for networking. I've met, I wouldn't be on these streams if it wasn't for Crypto Twitter. I wouldn't have met, Yoni. I mean, Yoni and I met on Telegram, but I never would have gotten in with Bossman if I didn't meet him on Twitter. Didn't met Yoni, would met Rhodes, all this different stuff. That being said, it can be fucking nasty reading sentiment, especially the algorithm really, can and show you a certain message sometimes, and it's just yeah, just during those times, I have to time myself to like step back, but just realize, like Yoni just said, the sentiment on crypto Twitter not only isn't reality, but oftentimes it it's notoriously pretty
They
bad.
do the opposite, right?
Exactly. That's a
Um,
great point, Yoni.
do you guys think by any chance, like I've just been hearing rumors of this, I'm just curious, like, do you think potentially this is like a little bear trap essentially before a Solana ETF? Or is that like big hopium?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if a Solana ETF were to be approved, there is like a crazy short position on Sol. So if that were to happen, obviously we'd probably expect like a pretty big squeeze to the upside. The question is, would that take us back to all time highs? It's possible that we got a squeeze and it just shoots you right back to 200, but then Bitcoin and everything else conditions are still not great, and then we just head back down. But let's say Sol were to come back down to like 150 or whatever at the bottom of this channel, all of a sudden the ETF news came out. Yeah, it's always possible it takes us right back to all time highs. But it also could just create a shorter term short squeeze, and then send us back into the bigger correction for a few more weeks.
Damn, Soul back at 130 is ruthless in the middle of a bull with all this bullish catalyst is fucking ruthless.
Yeah, let's go. Watch, I'll show you real quickly. Like past cycles, the corrections aren't as deep. But like this, for example, Bitcoin from 12 to 9, right here from, let me move this, several times. It went from 41 all the way down to 28. Um, my point is in the 2020 cycle, it had like 4 or 5 30% corrections. So it happens. Sol, like let's look at ETH during the last bull run. This would be here. See, you see the bull runs and why they were different this time around is mostly the bull runs were mostly up only.
Right.
But what happened after those up onlys is we got 70, 80, 90% crashes.
Right.
That's why I think it's very possible, on another note, why while these pullbacks may lead us to where that paradigm's over and we never get that big 80%, 90% crash again, but we see these big corrections in between for multiple months.
Yeah.
But
The impulses up are way. I mean, there hasn't been an impulse up the same way since.
on ETH, yeah, and that's why, understandably so, a lot of people
Same
are
thing with
tripping.
Sol, I think probably right after like the last big move up.
Yeah, I'll look at that in a second. But just before I
Yeah.
forget, on
Sorry.
ETH, oh, you're good. On ETH, for example, 500 down to 300, 1900 down to 1300. So yeah, a lot of 40-50% corrections on ETH as well. And during these times, the memes and the alts that were out, same kind of thing, 40, 50, 60, 70% corrections during that time. And as they head back up, the majors, that's when the good stuff recovers. But no, Sol, last big impulse was in September, and then obviously just the one from in 2023 to 2024.
Right. That's what I meant after that one.
Yeah, there was one.
Because it's made that move before, right? Like, look before it.
What do you mean? Where? Right
The
here?
yeah, farther to the left. It's made that same impulse. It came back to the same.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like that's why it's also an interesting place. Not an interesting place. That's why there's a lot of it's a big high here too. So I'm not surprised we topped out temporarily. But again, if we get a corrective channel in here, right here, off of the all-time high, I think it's very likely again just going to break that all-time high on the next one. Very oftentimes you see a correction on a previous all-time high like that.
With
If we were to get a very impulsive move down and we just got straight red candles through 120, then okay, that's worrisome. But again, this move so far has been corrective. If we get a bounce between here and 150 confirming this channel, from there it's like, okay, this is definitely a correction. And we, just a waiting game. Maybe we get one more low, and then we head back up. Only thing we should be worried about is if somehow this 170 breaks through 120 and we're just in straight red death candle impulse. But I think that's way less likely with this piece that we've already seen right here. It looks very corrective.
Just because it's been bouncing, right? Like it hasn't been straight down.
Yeah. And I mean, definitely, again, this is consolidation, which can be a sign of a major top. But as long as we kind of chop down towards here, again, the biggest giveaway is going to be that bounce. If we get that bounce off there, okay, that first bounce confirms corrective behavior, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for here on Sol. If we get that first bounce and then it comes back down, on this last one, okay, I'm start loading up on a long, or okay, very likely the market's about to bounce off here again because it confirmed corrective behavior on the first bounce.
So question then, all this to both of you, all this negative attention and the all this mass sorry, I'm blanking on the word, but we're pretty much just taking out so much liquidity from the market and all these scams that have been happening on Sol specifically. You don't think that you think it's just the sentiment that's doing this to the price? You don't think that's affected the price or will affect the price in the future?
It doesn't matter if that's what affected. Obviously, it's what took it down, but it's what matters is what's going to drive it up every time,
Right.
which is majors.
Which is
But
majors.
no, I don't think so much liquidity has been sucked out that it's like.
Well, I just mean all together, like whether it's bad impressions, left a bad taste in people's mouths, scared people off. You think Sol will be as strong as it ever was?
Sol? I mean, maybe there's a good chance that ETH, because of all this positive shit that's coming, other than memes, ETH outperforms. But I don't think Sol goes down over the next 6 months.
Got it. Just because it has been. I mean, I know Sol's always had this, but it has been a lot of shit in a very short amount of time. And I know it's always been like that, but it's never been such headline news, right? Powerful. It's not just randos rugging people or down 70% on random memes or cartoons.
Does the general public really give a fuck though? About this specific situation? The FTX thing, a lot of the general public had money in there. There's a lot more normie types, but I feel like the only people getting fucked in this whole thing is people that were on a Phantom wallet buying 100K market cap coins type shit.
No, we'll
really localized.
No, I don't think so. I think MLG, Jailstool, Fartcoin. I think
those weren't the whole Meteora thing. That's the whole Meteora thing is the only thing that's really going to be detrimental if it's attached to that type of shit. But those are just coins that everybody's You're more so saying the
I'm
90%.
just saying mass. Yeah, I'm saying 90% crashes through like more mass onboarding events than we've seen, right? Like we've seen celebrities drop in the space and stuff, but not really like trench, like not really like
Yeah, but people are losing their entire ass like even before all this, right? Like there's people that are losing everything on coins every day
right.
type shit, like especially on these rugs. So like I don't think it's gonna. It never really does stops people from completely trading. If anything, you would have think FTX would have completely kept people out. Like
Right,
that was like a real like a fucking everybody's fear about the industry is that it's just a big fraud or whatever. We literally had like a fucking Ponzi scheme, like
right.
fucking fraudster take billions of dollars, actual take billions of dollars out of the space, and I mean, shit's stronger than ever as far as I don't know. Maybe that is why less normies have come in, or at least it's taken longer. But I mean, the FTX thing's kind of being rectified now.
Oh, and I'm not sure if we spoke about this, but we know a lot of coins have unlocks coming. I'm not sure if everyone on stream understands what that means and whether that's bullish or bearish for a price. I'm still trying to understand whether I understand in some situations it's bearish, some situations it's bullish. So,
I
what
think
do you
it's
guys know about obviously unlocks and the unlocks that are coming with some of these coins? Like we could start with Solana even.
yeah,
That
it's
I,
just about soul. That's what everyone's tripping about. Usually,
yeah.
it's less about the unlocks and instead of everybody's like expectation. If everybody's expecting that the unlocks are gonna not do or gonna fucking tank price, it's not gonna happen. I think it contributes to this move down because everybody are expecting it, but it's not really usually about the actual unlocks. Very unlikely that that gets sold straight into the market. It's the panic that people are anticipating it's gonna happen. But like anything, the expected results is not what moves market. It's what people aren't expecting.
Well, can you explain like what the process is of like the unlocks and stuff, how it happens, like
They
what?
pretty much people VCs, early investors get an unlocked amount that has been locked for years. Most of the time, that's not
And that,
sold.
that they get to do what they want. You're saying they can either hold it or they can sell it at that point.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So in which case it could either like people don't know, they just might sell off the speculation, but quite literally it could either be super bullish or bearish.
Most of these people that are types that are getting this are high net worth individuals who understand markets and they're not going to sell
So
it
they're
down.
holding, right? That's what I'm saying. Like these situations could end up being extremely bullish if these holders or early investors
I
end
think
up.
it's just mostly neutral, right? Like I don't think it usually doesn't have. If anything, it could. Yes, if we were like in good conditions, it could create a bottom like capitulation. But
Well,
I think in this case, it's just going to be a nothing burger for the most part.
why do you think that? Is it because of the
Because
amount?
again, conditions are already bad. I don't think it's going to really contribute to again because it's not everybody's already expecting it, and most of that's not going to be sold in the open market. So
Got it. Because the condition is bad, so they wouldn't want to sell it at that price anyway.
that just in general, these types of people aren't the ones that are just going to go and dump it. A lot of stuff like that. Like yeah, even though it got dropped to them, people can still see. People are still watching them. There's still reputation on the line and all that. So most of these types, I doubt they're going to go maliciously just dump it, and then yeah, less likely since it's down 50%. But yeah, if we didn't miss anything, I think we've been on here for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Love doing this. For those of you who stayed on here with us through these times, we appreciate it. Um, you know, all you can do is tighten up, learn from what you can, and best days are yet to come for all of us. For those to stick around, so appreciate you guys. Yoni wrote any last thoughts?
Nah.
Nah, he said. Nah.
Yeah, but I can't fake the funk, but we're still here.
No, I love that man. Genuine, love the genuineness. That's not even a word.
It's okay.
Genuinity. How the fuck do you even say that? Any last thoughts though, Rhodes?
I don't know if we can have any more thoughts on what we just covered.
Yeah.
We just buckle up and see how it plays out.
Yeah, literally, like I'm so fucking. I don't mean to keep reiterating the same thing, but I'm sure there's going to be a bounce, and I'm sure everyone's going to be okay. Everyone in majors, but I'm just specifically talking about like certain coins, not the big ones that Bren loves that we talk about, but some of the, let's say, not everything is going to exist, but some of the other ones on Murad's list, further down that list, I'm very curious to see what happens to them, and I'm very curious to see what happens to all of these AI coins, primarily because I'm fucking down 80% on all of them, but also because I'm curious to know whether all of this shit is bullshit and vaporware and nothing, and it really is what everyone said, or this is just a part of the plan and they all go through corrections, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think generally most of these, I don't know about USA Coin and all that, but I think generally most of these will survive again because everyone he's picked have been through these 70% corrections. So the chance of death through this are a lot less.
Right.
But yeah, who knows how much the market caps these things get to? I think that's the biggest thing. Damn, USA Coin ran it to all time highs. Interesting.
Yeah.
When do you?
Like if you could look at Mini or some of these other coins that I actually like, and I think there's a community that they've just dropped, a good amount, but I actually still like there's still life in them because they've proven that, right? That it won't die.
Mhm.
Um, I just I don't know what that means for everything on that list and for these newer AI coins specifically that we were all so bullish on that had a lot of fucking money in it. It wasn't just like a few of us that were bullish. Like clearly it was bullish enough. Like you look at Virtuals, Fartcoin, a lot of these. Well, Fartcoin isn't a good example. It's more of a meme than AI and narrative. But ALK destroyed. Like some of these other teams destroyed ARK. Like a lot of these coins are down bad. Griffin, all of them damn near.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think just like on Murad's list, just like most of these coins, like a few of them might not make it. I think USA Coin really will be the only one that like I have no clue about. I think I agree. I think Mini, um, I find it very unlikely that it doesn't make a run back to all time highs if we do return to good conditions. Again, yeah, Mini's just still super crazy mind share and everything, but yeah, how much is this one down? Not even. Oh, wow, this one's not even down 90. Oh yeah, it is. Of course it is. What am I saying?
Yeah, all of
Uh,
them. You know.
yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely look back at these coins here again. We will be back on Friday at 10 a.m. PST. But with that being said, we appreciate you guys. Definitely give everybody a follow on the panel, and check out Bridge 3 Labs account, Telegram, Discord, and then the Boss Man Calls Telegram as well, where I post all my stuff. So with that, Yoni, Rotes, hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see everybody on Friday.
Talk soon, boys.
Take care, guys.